The Browns, your Cleveland Browns, are 4-1. The first time since 1994. I don't know about you guys. I'm 29 years old. That means I was 3 years old the last time the Browns were 4-1.
Yep. I was 4.
So I'm Josh Poloha. I was 3 years old the last time the Browns were 4-1. He's Joe Gilbert. He was 4 the last time the Browns were 4-1. And we're here to talk about another Cleveland Browns victory. Joe, what you have to say about that?
Well, see, this was another game where the Browns found a way to win. It was a weird game, but they found a way to win at the end. They gave them a lot of chances, gave the Colts a lot of more chances than I would like, but in the end, they made the plays to win the game, and 4-1 going to Pittsburgh.
I feel like if we could totally switch up what you just said in years past and say it was a weird game, the Browns found a lot of ways to lose. In the end, they lost. You know what I mean? It's just
I said that to Jake Burns on Twitter. It was exactly the opposite of what usually happens. Usually we play this weird game where we're leading and then we give it up and at the end. And this time we stuck with it and won the weird game. So that's a huge progress for this team.
For sure. I mean, I don't even say I wasn't know what to expect because the Colts were 3-1. They were without their left tackle, Costanzo, and I know they were without one of their linebackers. The Browns had a home game. Even though home field advantage doesn't really matter as much this year as it does in years past due to COVID. But I don't know. I just had a weird feeling. I'm like, wow, the fact that I went in today thinking that they'd beat a 3-1 team, no matter who it was. I don't care if the Colts beat a bunch of no-namers their first three wins. I just had a weird feeling that the Browns are going to win, and I couldn't tell you the last time we were 3-1 and thinking that the Browns are going to win.
I can't either, man. It's great to see that they actually won the game that they should have won and moved to 4-1, and they did it in a variety of ways today, which was nice to see. It wasn't just pounding the run game and going off the offensive line, but they won in a variety of ways, and it was good to see.
For sure. Cannot complain. I mean, I know we've talked about this many times already this season, but the defense is still struggling a bit, but they're playing that bend but don't break kind of mentality, I guess, and they're forcing turnovers, which is huge. I mean, they had another 2 turnovers today.
Huge turnovers today. It's just the secondary is a mess, but the pass rush is just saving them. Myles Garrett, he was the player of the game, quite frankly. It wasn't even close. He made so many plays, just so many pressures that caused turnovers. It's just amazing that how much a pass rush can make your defense better, because if they didn't have that pass rush, they would they would give out way so many more points than they are. The pass rush is the player of the game today, especially Myles, who was dominant.
I mean, it's hard. And I feel like Myles Garrett's most likely in the driver's seat for Defensive Player of the Year 5 games in.
Yeah. And
I couldn't even tell you the last time Defensive Player won the NFL MVP, so we won't even discuss that, especially with the way Russell Wilson and those guys are playing. But I saw something, I think I was scrolling through Twitter. Has Myles Garrett been a part of 8 turnovers, or it was something like that?
Yeah, eight pressures that that have led to turnovers. That's insane.
That's crazy.
And I don't even know if it counted the one in the end zone, which was the safety on the quarterback throwaway. But that was one of those best games I've ever seen him play, and that says a lot because he's played hell of a career so far.
It wasn't too long ago that people said that Myles Garrett was overrated because he wasn't sacking the quarterback. And now we see that
stats.
There's a stat that doesn't even count sacks. It just counts leading to turnovers.
Yeah.
So it's crazy to see it. And speaking of Miles Garrett, I mean, Olivia Vernon played really well today. I don't know if that's
Yeah,
because he wasn't getting that much attention, obviously, because Miles Garrett's on the other side of the line. But if your two defensive ends are playing that well,
yeah,
man,
yeah. It's every time he's on the field, Vernon is good. It's just he cannot stay on the field, which I think he got dinged up at the end of the game today. Um, but it was a great performance by the whole entire pass rush, and especially for the two ends, and especially for Miles. But yeah, it's good to see Vernon playing well.
do we even want to talk about the secondary? I don't know.
We talk about Harrison, who had a good game.
The fact that we're talking positive about Redwine, that we could talk
Yeah.
positive, and I scrolled through Twitter a couple times during the game, and I saw, thank goodness, Redwine is in the game. I was like, all right, that tells you all you need to know about the Browns secondary.
Yeah, with our two backup safeties were the players of the game in the secondary. Yeah, I have to say, Terrence Mitchell had a good game too. He's been quietly good this year. It's just everybody else is just a mess back there. So many miscommunications, and the linebacking core is terrible. But luckily, the pass rush can hide a lot of those things, which is good to see.
Yeah, I mean, even today, they gave up 23 points, and one of those, actually, we'll have to talk about this too. One of those is on a kick return. So technically, the defense only gave up 16 points, and then they got a safety. So their net,
I know, right?
their net points is minus 14. Hey,
Right.
I'll take it.
I know the past well, not Dallas, but the other 2-3 games that they won. You look at their points given up, and they haven't given up a lot, but it just I think a lot of the thing is they're making them spend a lot of clock to get down the field, so they're not making. Last year's team like defense would have big plays. They would give up huge plays that would be like two drives or 2 plays in the drive, and you would score points. So at least they're making them extend drives, take time off the clock, which is at least a good sign for the defense.
For sure. And actually, speaking of, I know this is way off topic, but usually by this time we're talking about the upcoming NFL draft. Week 1, it seemed like we were about to do that, but after being 4-1, the NFL trade deadline is November 3rd. If the Browns win, so what? That's 3 weeks away. So if the Browns go like 2-1 the next couple weeks, it's obvious that they're buyers at the deadline. I don't know when's the last time we can say that.
Right. Not for a while.
I haven't been looking around the league, but I feel like they can make some additions for not that much. Like I guess the Jaguars are pretty good, but with the team that's tanking, get a linebacker to get a safety that's decent. I mean, let's be honest. A safety, it's not that hard to upgrade at this point.
That's true. But yeah, usually the NFL trade line is not too busy, but I could see them taking maybe a linebacker, a safety. Jacksonville seems like they're still rebuilding, so I think they're a team that could be for the taking. Miles Jack would be a great addition. Pointed at him. And just there's probably a few other people that will sprout up over the next couple of weeks that could be a big help for this team, because the back seven or the back secondary and the linebacking core for the Browns just need help. and Delpit's not coming back anytime soon. So,
like I said already, the back seven, it doesn't take much to upgrade. If you can run and you know how to cover guys, boom, upgrade.
Right. Yeah.
All right. But we'll get back to the trade deadline once November 3rd gets closer. But yeah, so we talked a lot about the defense. The offense. Baker Mayfield looked pretty freaking good in the first half. Second half, I don't know if it was like halftime adjustments or if it was Wyatt Teller getting hurt. It seemed like something changed in the second half.
Yeah. I thought the first half was one of his best halves of football that he's played in his career, quite frankly. But yeah, the second half, I think the pass rush got to finally got to the Browns' offensive line, it started to break down a little bit more. And then some huge drops by Jarvis Landry kind of curtailed some drives that could have led to scoring drives and other keep extending drives. So it wasn't bad that Baker had that one bad throw for the interception, but he didn't have a bad second half really. A lot of other things happened, and they did get the running game going in the second half, which was helpful to finish off the game at the end of the game and on that final drive. But yeah, the offensive line had their first real matchup here since week one, where they're facing a really good front four, and they showed it in the second half where they kind of struggled with press pro and letting pressure get into Baker's face, which caused that second interception.
Yeah, would you blame that more on just the Colts having a good defensive line, or Wyatt Teller getting hurt, or what would you, or is it a combination?
I think it was a combination because Teller Hubbard was not very good, I have to say.
We knew that, didn't we?
Yeah,
he's part of like the back seven group where they're just not very good.
No, he's an offensive tackle and not a good offensive tackle, and he's moving to guard, which is not a great combination. But also, Wills had struggled in the second half. You'll see that with a rookie. He's still improving. So it wasn't just Teller missing. It was a combination that defense line is good, and they weren't going to be held down that whole time. So it was something that you expected from the Colts.
Yes, and the defensive line is good, and Phillip Rivers is not that good. So for the Browns, it was a good combination in the end, right?
Yeah, Phillip Rivers is old, and
he is old.
He looked it today.
He looks older. He plays older than Tom Brady.
Right. He looks older than Drew Brees, which is saying something too. Yeah, Phillip Rivers, they couldn't threaten anything downfield. They had that one play where there's like no one defending the guy. But other than that, it was all dink and dunk, and the Browns defense for their work, they stopped them and were able to pressure them. And when you're pressuring and you don't have a strong arm, that's not a good sign. And that pick six happened, and yeah, Rivers is. I don't see how the Colts are going to go far with Rivers.
Speaking of throws wide open downfield, when is Sendejo not going to play anymore?
I don't know if they have anybody to put it in.
I feel like if you just played like 10 on 11, it might be better, because at least you know someone's not back there. At least, you know what I mean? Sendejo is expected to be back there, but he's not. So at least if you're 10 on 11, you're like, all right, we need to get someone back there because there's no one back there.
Right, yeah. Well, we saw a good showing, I think, from Harrison, but he was playing the strong safety for Carl Joseph, who was missing. So maybe we see him move over, sub in for Sendejo coming up. But yeah, he has not been the best addition this offseason, to say the least.
A number of good additions this offseason, and Sendejo is not one.
Yeah, not one.
Vonnie Harrison, did he go out concussion protocol, right? I didn't see if he passed concussion protocol or.
Yeah, I believe Stefanski after the game said he got a concussion, so we'll see how that goes this week, which is not great.
Oh, good. We have Sendejo going against the Steelers, who just their rookie freaking wide receiver just put up 4 touchdowns, but hey, it's all right, right?
Yeah, 4-1 maybe.
Speaking of injuries, Baker Mayfield, I know he got hit late in the game. Stefanski said X-rays on his ribs. It can't be that serious, right? I hope not.
But yeah, rib injuries are not a joke for quarterbacks, because they are exposed so much in the pass game when when they get hit. So if it's anything serious, that's not a good sign. But I'm hoping because he was able to come back in the game that day, today, that it's just like a bruise and it will heal soon. But if it's broken, that's not great because as a quarterback with broken ribs, it's not fun.
Tyrod Taylor agrees with that exact statement.
yeah, it's not fun.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still in disbelief that the Browns are 4-1.
I know, right? 4-1 going into Pittsburgh.
Yeah, who would have expected that, especially after week 1?
I know, right? Yeah, it's amazing where the Browns turned around. It's great to see a coach that actually makes adjustments and outcoaches teams because once again Kevin Stefanski outcoached Frank Reich today. And his play calling was really good. He's giving them chances on offense to succeed, and it's fun to have a coach that actually can help you win rather than help you lose.
True. It's crazy that this offense is gelling as much as they are when they had no preseason games, a brand new coaching staff. I mean, Baker, I know we've discussed this too. This is Baker's 4th head coach. Well, if you count interim, this is his 4th head coach in 3 years. I mean, even if Baker is a superstar, which I'm not saying he is a superstar, but even if he is a superstar, that's tough for any quarterback to go through all that.
Yeah, it's tough getting different messages from 4 different people, different coaching from 4 different people. You can't learn something with a steady single message with changes going on so often. So it's good to see that he hopefully has a stable coaching staff here for years to come, and hopefully they build off of it. It was a great start today, and I think that's just the beginning of what they can do.
For sure. Yeah, and I don't know if I think I talked about this with Jake. Maybe it was you. I actually caught myself laughing at Baker Mayfield's commercials.
Oh, I
don't remember doing that.
It's a lot better when those commercials are a lot better when they're 4-1 and winning, and he's playing well.
And usually it's like, hey, Baker Mayfield, get off the commercials and go look at your playbook. Now I'm like, wow, this guy's actually pretty funny.
Right? They do ring a little bit different when they're winning the games.
Yeah, I don't know if there's anything else to talk about. John, I'm just looking at the stats. Man, Phillip Rivers.
Yeah.
I don't even talk about that. The Browns' run defense, again, only give up 68 yards rushing.
That is another underrated thing that we haven't really talked about this year. But their run defense is pretty good. Like the linebackers can't cover in against pass, but the run defense is done really well. They've slowed down almost every running game. Even the Ravens game, early on in the game, they didn't run that well. They turned it on late when the whole team kind of collapsed. But yeah, the run defense has been really, really good this year so far.
I have no idea what game you're talking about. What Ravens game?
Oh yeah, that we don't talk. That's right.
I have no idea what game you're talking about.
Oh yeah.
But seriously, all right. So 4-1.
Mm-hmm.
Steelers coming up next week. It's at Pittsburgh, right? Not that it really matters, but that is a huge test. I know we said week 1, Baltimore's a huge test. Steelers once again a huge test.
Yeah, it's going to be a really fun matchup because there's so many different matchups you can look at, like the Browns' offensive line versus their pass rush, the Browns' passing game versus their secondary is another good one. And then
can we not talk about Pittsburgh's passing game against our secondary, please?
Yeah, let's not. But our pass rush versus their offensive line is going to be a huge matchup. Their offensive line is not good, so if Miles can get after it and Vernon and the rest of the crew, that could bode well for the Browns. Getting after quarterback, getting Big Ben down, even though it takes like 14 people to take him down.
And another thing, injuries. It'll be huge if Ogunjobi comes back next week.
Mm,
And plus, I don't know what the heck's going on with Greedy. Greedy Williams. They never
yeah,
put him on the IR, and he's yet to play. I don't get it.
it just seemed like an injury that just has not gotten healed as quick as they thought. They thought they would get him back. I don't blame them for not putting him on the IR. I think it's just one of those injuries. They thought it was going to be a quick one where they can get him back, but it just turned into more weeks than they expected. And hopefully, someday we'll get him back here, and we'll have a more complete secondary to deal with.
Hopefully this week. That would be huge this week because they have Juju Smith-Schuster. I know one of the wide receivers went down. I forget which one. It's either James Washington or Deontay Johnson. I don't remember which one. And then Claypool, their rookie, just had 4 touchdowns today. So, yeah, the Browns need all the help they can get in the secondary against Big Ben and that group.
It's going to be a good test for them. Another big test. Each week I keep saying there's another big test, and this is another one. And division rivals, so getting a win in the division after the Bengals win would be huge to get this team to 5-1.
All I'm hoping for, I mean, I'm being a Browns fan here. I just hope it's a close game. They cannot get blown out. They cannot get blown out like they did the Ravens.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, go ahead.
No, go on. No, you go. It's all you.
I don't see them getting blown up, but I could be wrong. But I don't see this team as they're currently playing right now getting blown out. I think they're a better team, and I don't think they should get blown out, and they should be able to win this game.
Something that we haven't really talked about is confidence. Going into week 1, I mean, the Browns just came off a bad year last year, had no preseason games, brand new coaching staff. They had no I mean, I'm sure they had a little bit of confidence just because they're 0-0. But compared to being 4-1, they have confidence in themselves.
Oh yeah. It's an underrated thing, man. How many years have we gone where they're in these close games, but they don't have the confidence or the talent to pull out these wins at the end. It's an important factor, and each win gives them more confidence that they can do this, and it's keep building off the wins and getting confidence.
For sure. I know we played this last week, but looking at the schedule, it's hard not to get.
I know
it's hard not to get excited. After the Steelers, they had the Bengals, the Raiders, who just had a huge win today against the Chiefs. Granted. Yeah. So Bengals, Raiders, Texans, Eagles, Jaguars.
Yeah.
If they can get through the Steelers.
Yeah, and that doesn't count I think a couple of last weeks they played New York back to back, both New York teams, which are not playing well.
The New York teams are like the Browns of the past, and it's awesome to see that the Browns aren't that. We can make fun of the New York teams because we finally are not them.
I know. I think they have a combined wins as much as I do.
Oh, and me combined.
I know. So yeah, it's fun to actually look ahead and not look ahead all the way to the end of the season where the draft is. It's looking ahead in the schedule, see where we're playing next.
For sure. Yeah. So huge test next Sunday, 1:00. The Steelers, who are now 4-0. Yeah, huge test. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. It's a huge test.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just getting back to this game, one thing we need to hit on is our special teams.
I forgot about that. I should. Yeah. I'm glad I forgot about it. But yes, let's talk about it.
Well, it was good and bad. Let's start with the bad. The kick return coverage still is a mess. I think they shouldn't. They probably just need to just not even try to like kick it to the goal line and try to force short fields. They just need to kick it out of the end zone and just live for another day.
I don't get why this is such a hard decision. You have a guy making millions of dollars. Just kick it out of the end zone.
Yeah, well, special teams coaches believe in these these shorts. Get them in and like be inside the 25. You win. You get a better field position. But yeah, at this point, they just need to just kick it out of the end zone and live another day.
It's not worth the risk. I mean,
It's
what
not
they bring it out to like the 20, so it's a 5-yard difference, right?
right to this. Yeah, to this point, it's just it's they need to stop. But moving on to the good part was Cody Parkey, man. We have a kicker. He's been excellent. He made a 46-yarder to seal the deal today. Made all his field goals. Hasn't missed so far this year, and that includes PATs. So
You
it's
need to knock on wood right now. Thank you.
so yeah, it's great to see that they actually have a kicker that they can pretty much rely on. When they can't get it into the end zone, they can go to the kicker and feel semi-confident that they're gonna get those points.
And another positive in the special teams, Jamie Gillian's punt, the Scottish Hammer,
Right.
set up that safety.
Right. I also want to talk about how that just a terrible decision that was to down it inside the 5-yard line. Is that the 4-yard line? Like,
it's
what were you
Brown-esque.
thinking? I know.
It's awesome. Like I said, it's awesome to see another team do it, right?
Right. It wasn't like our punt team was like surrounding him. They just got down there when he was catching the fair catch. It was one of the Colts made some really bad mistakes today, and it was amazing to see that we weren't the team that were making them, and we were playing the team that made these huge, just boneheaded plays. That one, and then the throwaway by Rivers in the end zone. They made some really bad mistakes.
And shout out to Phillip Rivers for trying to complain that there was a guy in that area.
Yeah, he was complaining about, the route was supposed to go the other way. Well, it didn't, and it
didn't.
So
that guy was supposed to run for a touchdown, but he didn't.
Yeah, like that's not a thing. Like the refs aren't supposed to know what play route you're supposed to run.
And he even did the hand motions on the TV. He was like, he was supposed to go this way.
Like, no, that's not how it works.
I was just bring up on. Oh, speaking of the punt, the amount of times I've heard a coach say, "Stand on the 10-yard line. If the ball goes over your head, let it go."
Right.
Like I don't get. How can you be a professional athlete and not listen to that? Like that's the easiest thing to listen to.
I don't know if it's changed over the past couple of years, but I've seen so many catches inside it used to be inside the 20, you let it go. But now it's like people are catching it inside the 15, inside the 10-yard line. It's amazing I don't know what they're thinking. I guess they think punchers are so much better now that they can coffin kick it into the out of bounds or something like that. But there's some bad management of fair catching.
I feel like that's the same as kickoffs. They just try to outsmart themselves. They're probably just like, "Hey, I can make a play." Same with the kickoff. You know what I mean? Yeah. They're probably just thinking, "Oh, I can make a play. I'll grab it at the 4-yard line."
That's the NFL for you. They overthink everything and think they can be better than what the actual play constitutes.
But hey, it's going the Browns' way. So I don't care what happens. Do that all day. As long as it's not the Browns,
we'll take it.
I'm fine with it.
We'll take it. Yep.
All right.
4-1.
4-1. 11. 4 wins down. 11 to go.
Yep. And I think I got my dream that I think Tony Romo's on the game next week. So.
You mean the guy that said Dak Prescott only rolled his ankle or whatever he said?
Yeah, that guy.
Great. Oh no, it's afterwards. I think he just has a cramp. Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And if you're watching this video, please do not search Dak Prescott on Google.
No, it's just terrible.
Please don't.
Yeah, there's been a lot of it's just terrible. I feel so bad for Dak. He seems like a great guy, and that was just a horrible way to end your season.
I'll give you a spoiler alert for those of you that haven't seen it yet. Dak Prescott did not just get a cramp.
No. I think it was
That's all I'll
officially
say.
like a dislocated ankle or something like that, which is
Yes,
an
but
understatement.
yeah. So, so Browns are 4-1.
Mm-hmm.
Pittsburgh next week at Pittsburgh. Hopefully, I can get a little bit healthier. I guess we'll find out what is wrong with Baker's ribs. Larry Ogunjobi hopefully will be back.
Mm-hmm.
Greedy Williams hopefully will make his debut, but I'm not counting on it.
Yeah.
Who else got? I think Jake. One of the other linemen got hurt too.
Harrison got hurt and concussion. I think
Jake Elliott did too, right?
Jordan Elliott. Yeah,
Or Jordan Elliott, not Jake. So.
Yeah, for a second there, they were out their top three interior D linemen was not great, but luckily Richardson was able to come back. So
and luckily,
yeah,
Myles Garrett's still dominant, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so this is a big week where you gotta pay attention to the injury report, see how who's practicing and who's not, and who's getting better. But hopefully, they're not too serious coming out of this game, and we can be close to full strength going to Pittsburgh.
For sure. And I know we didn't really talk about it much, but Jarvis just seemed off today. He had two of those drops. He had that really good catch early on, but then he had those two big drops.
Yeah, he had a great first half, and then the second half, much like the rest of the passing game, just seemed off. And once he dropped that first one, the second one, it was like he wasn't in the game. It seemed like it was weird. But sometimes good players just have those moments where things are not going for them, and yeah, luckily the Browns were able to overcome them and win the game.
Yeah, and I mean he still had 4 receptions for 88 yards, so I can't complain that much. I'm just nitpicking.
Right? Yeah. First half was
if we're nitpicking over a win, hey, I'll do that all day.
All day.
All right. So Browns are 4-1. Pittsburgh next week. Huge game next week. Yeah. So it's a 1:00. So Joe and I will be with you next Sunday night, probably 5-ish. Mm-hmm. But yeah, hopefully we'll be discussing another win. But I will just take I will just take a close game.
I'm going for the win.
Okay. I'll gladly take a win, but I just want it to be close at least.
Yeah. It should be fun though.
For the first time since 1994, your Cleveland Browns are 4-1. It was nice talking to you guys again.
See ya.